Coming up in this video, I've got another special interview for you. I like doing these interviews. If you like them, let us know in the comments below. This time, I've got Jason on over in Ireland, from Dublin, precise, to talk about Two Shores Rum. Now, it's a brand that I'd never heard of before. This is all part of the Craft Rum Club, August 2023 box. Okay, this is the rum box. And as I always say, if you want to get involved in the Craft Rum Club, if you're in the UK and you've never tried the rums, that whole point is that, they're just trying to bring different rums to you guys, so you can try different things without the risk or anything like that. So the discount code is in below. You get the box. Within the box, you get the magazine, you get snacks, you get mixers, plus you get the rum as well. It's great value for money. So do try out if you've not done already. But as I say, this brand, never heard of before, but I've come away from the interview really excited about their future, because they've got they're doing something that I think is very, well, not massively different in rum world, but actually quite unique with their little tiny niche of what they're doing. So without further ado, let's dive in to Jason and Two Shores Rum. Jason, thank you very much for joining us tonight for this little chat. I'll be honest, I've never heard of Two Shores until the Craft Rum Club came out. We haven't chatted much beforehand, so I'm really looking forward to just kind of deep diving and finding all about you. But Jason, tell us a little bit about you and the brand. When did it start? How did you get into rum? Like, just take us back. How did it all start?
Well, Steve, thanks so much for having me. My name is Jason Kidd, calling in from Ireland this evening, from Dublin. So we've had Two Shores out in the Irish and a few other export markets for about 15 months now, and delighted to be part of the Craft Rum Club for this month. Two Shores is our first foray into rum. We have a gin brand that's been out in the market for around 3 years or so, but rum's a category that's always excited me. It's obviously a category that's getting a huge amount of interest from consumers, and they're discovering different rum styles, etc. So we're one of only 4 rums from Ireland, and only the second rum from the Republic of Ireland. So yeah, just absolutely delighted to be talking to you about it.
So you said Dublin. Sorry, I didn't even ask that before we started. So you're from Dublin? That's where you are.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm in a small village just north of Dublin. For those of you that have come over to Ireland before, you probably fly over the top of us when you land into Dublin Airport. So we're about 10 minutes from the airport and about 20 minutes from the city.
Oh wow, lovely. Love Dublin. So it's such a great. So I was just going to say, like, typical. It's like all about having a crack, yeah. But it's such a lovely city. I love Dublin to bits. So you just said something interesting then. So 13 months, is that correct? This brand's been
that's
going?
right. Yeah, we've been out for just over a year. We're currently available, obviously, with the Craft Rum Club in the UK, and we've got a new distributor on board. So hopefully you'll see us about a little bit more than we currently are. But no, still relatively new.
Oh, so it's not even properly available in the UK at the moment?
No, not properly. It's only available on a couple of e-com shops so far. So delighted to be involved with yourselves and the Craft Rum Club to get the good Two Shores message out there a bit more.
The debut. Wow. Right. Okay, so let's take us back to, I was going to say 13 months ago, but probably 16, 18 months ago.
A little bit further back than that, yeah.
Before, okay, so so obviously you said you've had the gin brand for 3 years,
yeah,
and the rum sort of came back. Like, how is a brand looking to launch a rum? How does that even begin? It's like, what thought processes go through your head? Like, what rums? The amount of rum that's out there in the world. Like, where do you even start? How does that all begin?
Yeah, listen, it's a really good question, one that I've been asked a couple of times, particularly as an Irish brand owner. A lot of people go, well, why not whiskey? And, there are obviously a huge amount of Irish whiskey brands that are out there on the market, and they're doing really well. But there's not that many Irish rum brands. Ireland isn't famed for rum. It's famed for whiskey and pochine. It's famed for some of its larger gin brands as well. So we essentially thought, you know what, it'd be quite interesting to go out there with an Irish finished rum. So essentially what we've done is taken an Irish twist on the rum category. So all of our Two Shores brands are Irish whiskey cask finished in Ireland. So that is our promise for anyone that drinks Two Shores. All of the liquids are aged in Ireland in aged Irish whiskey casks.
Wow. So I hadn't even cottoned onto that bit. This is, so just very quickly to talk about this, we've got the Two Shores Premium Golden Rum, English Irish single malt whiskey cask finish. That's what that.
Yeah,
I did go on your
that's
website very quickly. You've got 3 other finishes, haven't you?
That's right. Yeah. So we've got 4 in total, and you guys have got our our most exciting, and also the one that is doing best within export as well. So it's also, I guess, really our signature liquid under Two Shores. So the one that you're holding there, Steve, is aged in a 19-year-old single malt whiskey barrel. So it's
Not
aged up to a 19-year-old. So again, Irish whiskey is famed for particular flavors versus Scotch versus bourbon. So we're working with a particular cask manager within a distillery on the west coast of Ireland, in Galway, and so that's where Two Shores comes from. So we independently source sustainably sourced sugarcane rum direct from a distillery in Panama. We bring it over at 8 years old. It's a pure play 8-year-old rum that's been aged in ex-bourbon barrels. We then decant it out into a 19-year-old single malt whiskey barrel. So it's a double barrel finish to it.
wow. So okay, so to go back, so you mentioned it there. Let's just clarify one thing here, and there's nothing wrong with this at all because I love a lot of rums like this. You don't distill rum from scratch. You've chosen to import it from. So why Panama? Out of all the countries in all the world, why Panama? I
Yeah,
love this
so
question. So I'm so fascinated by this.
yeah, so I mean, I'm sure a lot of your listeners and yourself will know, there are traditionally 3 styles of rum: English, French, and Spanish. We specifically went for a Spanish style rum because of the oily nature that Spanish rums tend to have. They've also got a really generous mouthfeel versus some of the French style rums as well. We actually went through, quite a lengthy innovation process, which sounds terrible, but we sourced rums from 14 countries around the equator, as far away as Fiji, all the way through to Hawaii. And we basically landed on this one distillery in Panama whose base liquid is just particularly of a high quality. So we actually import the rum in at 8 years old at cask strength at 65% ABV. We then age it in barrels for up to another 12 months here in Ireland in aged Irish whiskey barrels at 65% ABV. And then we bring it down to bottling ABV strength, which for yourself is 37.5. But the Two Shores construct comes from, and you'll see on your label, actually, Steve, on either side of the cut, one side is the shore of Panama and one side is the shore of Ireland. So we bring those two worlds of, I guess, really, rich alcohol making and distilling provenance together, hence Two Shores. So from the shores of Panama to the shores of Ireland.
Wow, it's a great brand name. So I lost track then. So how many rums did you say? 40? No, I've made that up, haven't I? How many rums did you try?
14 we tried. Yeah, and
Wow.
that was all over that was all over the back end of COVID as well. So that was either a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, we had to taste 14 different types of liquid, and we're now on our 4th shipment of rum from Panama into Ireland.
Wow. So this is because it tastes to me like that, and I'm no expert, but this is essentially undosed, uncoloured, whatever else, unchilled, filtered. It's just purely cask strength rum, nothing added to
Yeah,
it.
and
Shipped to
our kind of philosophy around our rum and also our gin as well is that we want to make liquids that are of a high enough quality that you can drink neat, that you can savor, that you can enjoy, but then we'll also make fantastic cocktails and long drinks as well. So as I said, no chill filtration. There's no additives, no colorants, etc. It is a pure play 8-year-old, which is then aged up to another 12 months here in Ireland. So it's pretty much as nature intended. No chill filtration is really important to us as well because it just maintains the quality of the liquid. But yeah, we've got a couple of a good recognitions around the rum as well. So as I mentioned, there's only a handful of rums in Ireland, but we managed to pick up 4 golds at the World Rum Awards, including Best in Ireland. And there may only be a handful of us, but we might as well be the best. And we also got one for Best Brand as well, which we're delighted with.
wow. So World Rum Awards, did you just say then?
That's right. Yeah, World Rum Awards.
Wow.
We're recognised as the best rum in Ireland. Yeah.
Wow, nice. Okay, so all right, let's set the scene a little bit for you here because I like to kind of get people's perception of rum and how they kind of envision their rum. So you're obviously a rum drinker as well. I'm guessing you drink Irish whiskey. Is rum your favourite spirit? And there's no right or wrong answer to that, but you like your rum?
Yeah, I do like rum. I'll be completely honest. My favorite liquid is gin. I've
Right.
I've always had an interest in gin, but it's more around the styles of rum or the styles of gin that sit on the outside of the categories. I always think on the margins of the category is where things are quite interesting. So, with respect to the vast amount of white rums or spiced rums that are out there, we chose to take a different path. There will always be a market for white rum. There will always be a market for spice rum as well. But our parent company is called Outcast Brands because Ireland has always been seen as the outcast of Europe because we're literally on the edge of everywhere. And then secondly, as well, we like to do things slightly differently. So we've chosen to just put our own Irish twist on rum. So yes, don't get me wrong, I love a good rum. I like French rums, I like British rums, I like Spanish rums, but we've chosen to go down this Irish finished rum route.
And I suppose, actually, I mean, I was going to say a small niche, but it is a small niche, but it could be a huge niche because I'm no expert in Irish whiskey, but I've been a bartender and in the industry long enough to know that there's a hell of a lot of Irish whiskey out there, finished in different casks, different distill. So, are you looking at this let's just talk about the other three rums that you've got there. I've seen one of them, two of them stuck out in my head. You've got an Oloroso cask,
That's right.
which is an Amarone, however you want to say
That,
it. The kind of. So what was the other one? I've kind of forgotten.
We have one of our promises is that all of our liquids are finished in an Irish whiskey finish cask in Ireland. So the Amarone wine cask finish was an Amarone wine cask that's already had Irish whiskey in it that we've then put our rum into. We then have an Oloroso sherry finished cask and a peated cask as well, so a smoked rum or a smoky
That's
rum.
the one. Yeah, peated. So I mean, there's just because in this world now, and I don't know whether you keep track of it, but we certainly do. I certainly do. It's like so many distillers are looking for a new point of difference. In fact, so even the
100%.
Irish whiskey brands are looking for ex cognac barrels, ex wine barrels, ex different rum barrels. There's so much diversity going on there. So even for you, in a small niche that kind of wants just Irish whiskey finished rum, there's still a huge amount that you can do in that.
Well, there's a huge amount of choice, not least because 10 years ago in Ireland there was probably a handful of distilleries, less than 20. Now there's 52 distilleries on the island of Ireland, and there's only about 5.5 million of us that live here. So there's a huge amount of casks that are being traded, that are being swapped, that are being experimented with. And what's great is that our Irish whiskey finished rum cask then goes on to another whiskey brand owner who puts their own whiskey into it. So there's loads of layers of flavour that's available out there.
And I suppose you could even in time. I mean, obviously it's still 13 months in, but then you could get that barrel back again in another year or so. So it's gone from whiskey to rum to whiskey back to rum again.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, we're all about experimentation. We've also got 2 limited editions that we're working on at the moment that will be hopefully out in market before Christmas. And one is an Irish Imperial Porter finish, so an Irish black beer finish. And that'll be bottled at around 50% ABV. And then we have a tawny vintage port finish as well from Porto. So we like to experiment. We like to do things a bit differently. As with all good liquid types, I think, rum drinkers in particular like to experiment. They like to discover. They like to see what's out there. And so we're just hopefully bringing something new to the category that's currently not there.
That's fantastic. I love this because I'm inquisitive. I love change. I'm one of these people that just loves change and likes new different directions and tangents that people go on. I'm not one of these that will just kind of happily sit with, the same 12-year-old rum that's, a distiller's been banging out for like the last 40 years. I really love changing on. The one thing I am kind of intrigued, like if you don't mind, you can say no to this as well, but I'm kind of intrigued on a business level as well. Because at the end of the day, you're a business and you're trying to make money, but actually not many people, although they should do, not many people comprehend that actually Ireland is not part of the UK. So it's actually, you know,
No?
you I don't know whether you have got favourable. What's the word? I don't know that side of the stuff well enough for you, but I mean, you're no different essentially to a US brand or a Caribbean brand importing to the UK. So that must be tough in itself.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. We are here to, hopefully to build a business, to, put food on our own families' tables and the people that work with us as well. But we need to do that with in in a way that's going to make us markedly different from other distilleries that are out there, not least in Ireland and the UK, but also a bit further afield. One thing that is great about Irish distillers is that, whether you're south of the border or north of the border, everybody seems to know each other. It's very collaborative. There is competition, obviously, at the sharp end of things, but, when you're at the size that we are, doing what we're doing in the volumes that we are doing, you're able to pick up tips and tricks and help with like-minded collaborators. But yeah, I mean, just on the business side, obviously as well, actually trying to get stock into the UK has become a challenge over the last couple of years. It's also become a challenge, obviously, with the recent duty increases as well, which I don't think anybody's particularly happy with. But at the end of the day, our reason for being is to develop differentiated, high quality liquids that will hopefully be around, in 10, 12, 20 years time, as opposed to just doing it for the sake of doing it, if that makes sense.
Does it kind of become so once you've got what I'm assuming this is how it works, but once you've got, so this is the first one you're looking at to get into the UK, if you like, you've
Yeah,
done it
so
through the
yeah,
craft.
so
Does it
we
become easier? Does it become
no, if
easier
it,
to
no,
get like second and third?
no, if anything, it's become a little bit more difficult, just with the added red tape, the added paperwork. Luckily, we've got good transport partners that are able to get us stock from A to B, which is good. But things have certainly become a little bit more challenging. But we know that the UK market has a taste for rum. The UK market has always been it's been very much at the forefront of drinks experimentation for a long time. If you look at any other international drinks brands, whether they're Australian whiskies or bourbons from the States or piscos or whatever it might be from South America, they want to get into the North American market and they want to get into the UK and European markets. So London, the southeast and northwest of England will always be an epicenter for drinks experimentation. So to be a credible brand, we have to be in the UK market.
Wow. So we can so we're shooting this if for like, so videos live on for months and months and months. We're shooting this mid-August 2023.
Yeah.
You're what? So this will be not let's just say mass market available UK by the autumn, by September, October.
I would hope that we will be in the in in the right venues, for want of a better expression, in the lead up to Christmas. But
Wow.
we just want to make ourselves available to the people that want to buy us, and the way in which you can do that is with like-minded distributors, which we have in the UK, along with making yourself available on the likes of big e-com sites and stuff like that. But we're delighted to be partnering with the Craft Rum Club because it's a hugely innovative and it's a really credible subscription service that will allow us to get our bottles into rum lovers' hands.
Where I was basically going with that question is you were talking about that special edition, that 52% or whatever you said. Where I was going with that is can we expect to see that before Christmas or not? Or
Oh, for sure, yeah, absolutely. It'll definitely be available in the UK before Christmas.
Because I just think, even at the moment, if you could get all four of those, and bearing in mind I've only tasted this one, but even if you could get all four of those over, it just offers the rum drinker such a journey, even
different.
within one brand.
That's it. And what's really interesting, Steve, is that they all start with the same base liquid of 65% ABV, sustainably sourced sugarcane rum from Panama, which we then put into specifically four very markedly different barrels, so that we can not only demonstrate the versatility of the liquid, but also as well it's just four different expressions of the same liquid, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Let's just quickly talk about this rum then. It's like So it's 37.5%
Yeah.
ABV. It's not, and this is what I could, because my videos, a lot of my viewers are kind of, I don't want to say at the entry level, but that's kind of what I target at. I basically I
Yeah.
want to take the sweeter spiced rum gang
Mhm.
to up to sort of 50, 55 pounds a bottle before
Yeah.
they can go on and like take them on that journey. And I think this rum kind of fits in that niche quite well. But the one thing I want to point out is where you see this is finished in Irish whiskey cask. A lot of people get put off by that heavy wood kind of influence. And even though this has spent 8 years in Panama and then a
Yeah.
further year, the wood influence in this, it's a lovely kind of soft,
Yeah.
like even a touch of vanilla, but that soft, there's no harshness and no spice tang, if you like, of the wood,
Yeah.
the barrel on the top
Yeah.
of the tongue. It's really soft, really delicious to drink. I'm just trying to see what do you kind of get when the nose? What if you were selling this, like if you were behind a bar or something, and selling,
Yeah.
how would you describe the nose on this?
I describe the nose on this as, with hints of vanilla, with very kind of, light characteristics of wood, with very faint banana in it as well. And what's quite interesting is that when you go through the drinking journey, it smells very much like a whiskey, but it finishes very much like a rum.
Do you know what? I'm going to agree with that. Actually, it's the banana that I was kind of struggling to pick out, but then as soon as you said it, it was like, that's what that is in the back there. But yeah, I mean, straight. All right. Admittedly, what's the time now? This has been in the glass now for about 40 minutes, give or take.
Mhm.
But the initial sort of punch I got off there was for me. There was actually no mistaking that was kind of like an Irish whiskey. It's like
Yep.
it's the thing. I'm not a huge whiskey fan, but
Mhm.
the whiskey I do drink, actually, I do kind of enjoy Irish whiskey. But I'm
Yeah.
not there with Scotch. Scotch for me is too heavy, especially flipping Islay and got those real peat monsters and all that. I'm
Yeah.
not looking forward to trying your peat one. I'll be honest. It's one thing I don't do, like anything like Lagavulin or Lafroig or anything like that. No,
Okay.
I cannot handle those. But there is a market, there's a huge market for it. But yeah, really soft. And then on the palate, I get there is a subtle hint of banana on there on the palate. There is it is that light vanilla note again. I wouldn't say I get too much caramel or toffee or anything like that you would kind of get primarily from an 8, 10-year-old rum.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's possibly down to two things. One is we don't put any added sugars into it, and secondly, it's sugarcane based as opposed to molasses based as well, which can have an influence on not only the sugar content but also as well on the mouth feel as well. I think as well.
Sorry, I hadn't even picked up on that. This is sugarcane juice
Correct.
or
Yeah.
syrup? It's
No
juice.
juice.
Wow. Sorry, I hadn't even picked up on that. So it's not molasses.
No.
It's actually sugarcane juice. Wow.
Correct.
Okay.
And
That all right. That
I've mentioned a couple, it's sustainably sourced as well for a couple of reasons. One, we think it makes an interesting liquid style because it's not that. Some rums can be overly sweet, particularly if they've had it added sweetness put into it, and also spice rums as well. It's not that we're saying that don't go down that path. It's just not the right path for us. But the sustainability piece is important to us in insofar as we're in Ireland, we're Origin Green accredited, which means that we do things as sustainable as we possibly can. The bottle you've got there is 67% recycled glass, and the label that you've got around your bottle is made from reconstituted sugarcane paper.
I've heard a lot of this recently. Actually, I kind of like this. It was a new thing to me, probably about a year ago. But ever since I heard it, so many brands are talking about that now. But yeah, do you know?
Yeah,
Do you know what that is?
and
Can you explain it anymore? Because I don't.
well, basically, what we've done is, as opposed to using virgin paper or using vegetable, as opposed to using, kind of like metallic or toxic inks, we're using vegetable-based inks that are actually then printed onto paper that's been made out of used sugarcane, essentially. So it's
Oh, of
sugarcane paper.
course, it'll be. It's me thinking of how do you turn a liquid into paper. It's actually the cane itself that's been
That's it.
juiced.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I like to be thick sometimes. But the one thing I want to point out with this rum, look, even to a beginner, that is like a really soft, really approachable, neat sipping rum. Don't
Hmm.
you know? There is nothing in that is going to put the newbie off at all. It's and I dare say, look, for someone like me that's been, look, I don't really like my heavily aged rums, but I like rums with a little bit to them. Um,
Hmm.
and this, this from I either class them as like a one-off rum or a session rum, and for this for me is a
Hmm.
session rum. You
Yeah.
could have two, three, four of these quite
Yeah.
happily, one after the other, how you want. I'm a neat drinker myself, but let's talk
Good.
about, because I've noticed in the Craft Rum Club there's
Yeah.
two served in here. One was ginger ale, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, so we've got
and the
yeah,
mojito.
there's a couple in there. So we've got one with ginger ale. We've also got our kind of take on a golden mojito as well. I know that Ian has also looked at a rum old fashioned as well. So it's a versatile liquid that can find its way into long drinks, but also cocktails as well. But as I mentioned at the top, we pride ourselves in making liquids that can be enjoyed neat, that can be sipped. I prefer to drink mine neat. Also, as well, if you put an ice cube in it as well for your second or your third drink as well, it changes up the flavor there as well. But when it comes to cocktails and long drinks, I think there's sometimes a tendency, particularly for certain bars and bartenders, to potentially overcomplicate the serve uh, to a point that you end up losing the liquid. So we try to develop cocktails that have got no more than three, maximum four ingredients, including a garnish, so that you can actually taste the liquid behind the rest of the cocktail, if that makes sense.
I think. Do you know what? I've had a sip now. It's been sitting in the palate for about a minute or so. I'm getting the one mixer. I'm trying to piece together other mixes that would really pop with this, and I think I haven't got any here to try it. But the one that's really crying out to me is the Fever Tree spiced orange ginger ale. There's
Yeah,
something that I'm
very much so.
tasting in there
Yeah,
that the orange would just kind of, you could, I dare say, for those of you that can't actually get it, you could probably do like some orange bitters in a ginger ale. But there's just
yeah,
something in there that I'm
absolutely.
kind of thinking, ooh, orangey. I'm not saying orange juice or an orange Fanta or anything like that, but I love my ginger ales anyway. I just think that would work a treat with this rum.
Yeah, or I mean, obviously you can serve a rum take on an old fashioned with an orange peel twist, or
Mm.
if you want, just give yourself a really nice wedge of orange and just pop it in there, and it'll just enhance the flavor there. But rum and orange have always gone really well. I know there's obviously a trend for rum and lime, etc., but rum and orange have always been natural bedfellows, I think.
I'm interested now you said that. I'm interested to do like a daiquiri serve, like instead of lime, like orange, fresh, like
Mm.
literally a pressed orange. That'd be quite of interest. I am interested in one thing though. You as a gin drinker, I'm assuming gin and tonic or neat gin.
Our gin's triple distilled, so it can be drunk neat. It's a neat gin. I actually really like gin and soda as well, so you can actually
Okay.
taste all the
Ah,
botanicals.
my
So,
credit.
but again, if you are going down the tonic route, then I wouldn't verge too far away from a premium Indian tonic because,
My
again,
my
I
point
think
is there's certain people that really like a rum and tonic, and I was heading towards. Have you tried that? I'm not one of those people. I'll
I'll
point
be
that
honest.
out.
I haven't tried it. I've obviously tried it with a ginger beer. Our kind of take on a dark and stormy is really good there as well. It works really nicely in a mojito as well, so it can actually stand up to a bit of lime as well. But yeah, one thing we tend to verge people away from is the typical Cuba Libre or rum and coke. That said, it goes well with coke if that's the way that you
Yeah.
want to drink it. But yeah, we feel as if it's just a slightly more refined liquid with the nuanced taste that you just spoke about there, Steve.
It's definitely, there's definitely more to rum. Look, rum and coke's going to be out there for eternity.
Well,
Of course it is,
decades,
and
centuries. Yeah.
it's just the easy serve. It really is. But there is in this day and age, and there's some. I'm trying to think of that brand. I do a little bit of judging for the Class magazine, especially on the soft drinks, and there's an Irish poacher. If you
Poachers.
heard of
Yeah.
some of their
Yeah.
stuff is really good, and they've
Yeah.
got
They.
some
Yeah.
quality flavors as well.
Yeah. So we're good friends with Isadora and Brendan that look after Poachers here in Ireland. So Brendan's the owner of Poachers, and yeah, we would always recommend for Irish bars that we partner. So they've got a lovely grapefruit soda that works really well with an Irish rum.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to think. They've also got this because they've got quirky labels on them. I'll never forget the
They do.
labels on
Yeah.
them.
Very colourful.
There was it wasn't the old. There was another flavour. I'm just kind of thinking, definitely the grapefruit one. I mean, I love rum and grapefruit anyway. It's kind of like, it's a Jamaican serve, if anything, although they would do it with their sort of higher ester kind of
Yeah, they've
Jamaican funk.
actually got they've got a ginger beer with chili, which is really
That's,
good with it.
oh, I'm breaking a bar. That's the one. I think, yeah. But the chili might be a bit too feisty for
Yeah,
this,
yeah, it
but
can be. But
it'll make a
again,
great drink.
you can sometimes just do a dash with it. It doesn't always have to be 3/4 long drink one. Sorry, 3/4 long drink 1/4. You can always
Yeah.
mix it up a bit depending on your own preference.
So okay, so let's we've covered the rum and all that. Let's jump back to, so hopefully we should have. Are we going to have all 4 of your rums before Christmas?
All 4 of them are actually currently available in the UK now, but we've specifically made that one,
Right.
specifically bottled that one for you guys at the Craft Rum Club.
Cool. So in, say, 2024, when you've got your route to market sorted out, are you looking to do, basically, like what I'm getting at is, because I haven't seen the price points of these at all, but are you
Sure.
looking to sort of get out and about where people can try the rum? Are you looking to do any rum shows, rum festivals, or anything
Yeah,
like that?
100%. We're actually going to be over in London in September for the Specialty Fine Food Fair. I'm
Right.
going to be over in Rum Fest myself, just for a bit of a walk around and look around, hoping to do that next year. And the first rum show that we're going to do is actually going to be in Belgium next year with our Belgium distributor. So
Wow.
we're definitely getting out there. We've just literally just been testing the market to see if there is something in it, and there's a love for Two Shores, and there seems to be. So hopefully the brand will be around for a while still.
Brilliant. And what about because I know I've got, I can see the analytics. I know there's a few Irish that watch the channel and watch this. Look, what do you do in Ireland, in Dublin? Can people, like, how can people try it without? Do you get out and do like markets or shows or festivals or
Yeah,
anything
we
like
do.
that?
Yeah, we do sampling in our leading customers. So for those people that are based in Dublin, the likes of McHugh's, JJ Fox's, Celtic Whiskey, Blackrock Cellar, they'd be key supporters of ours. We're also finding our way into multiple cocktail serves in high-end restaurants and hotels as well in and around Dublin city centre. And we're down in Cork next week to drum up a bit of interest for the brand down there as well. So we're also quite
Nice.
strong on the west coast of Ireland in Galway, where it's finished as well. So we're probably in about 75 to 100 places here in Ireland at the moment.
Can you? I sort of skirted over that because I wasn't sure whether to ask you or not. Can we chat about the actual brand of whiskey or do you not want to?
Yeah,
It's fine if you don't want to.
no,
Go on.
100%, no problem at all.
Go on then. Who's the cask?
Yeah, so the cask we get from Ahaskra Distillery, which is a relatively new distillery based in Galway on the west coast of Ireland. They actually just opened officially around 6 weeks ago. I was lucky enough to go to their opening party. They're probably the biggest employer in the village. There's only a couple of hundred people that live over there. But we've become very collegiate and very friendly with Gareth and Michelle McAllister, who own and run the distillery. And we've helped each other along the way. They are a little bit more ambitious than when we are currently at the moment in terms of building. I think it is the most sustainably and eco-friendly distillery in Europe as of now. Zero emission distillery. It's sat over an old water mill where the water runs through, and that will soon generate electricity as well. But just like-minded folk that like to do things differently. So we finish our rum in their barrels.
So that speaks to me even more. Instead of, look, we all know and love like the corporate brands and all that, but it's just something lovely about like smaller individual kind of people sort of getting together. I love that. That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it actually, it's the story there actually starts about 4 years ago. So as I mentioned, I live in a village just north of Dublin called Malahide, and Gareth and Michelle live in Portmarnock, which is literally the next village over. I was down the high street a couple of Christmases, High Street, the main road, a couple of Christmases ago, and Gareth literally bumped into me and went, "You're Jason Kidd, aren't you?" And I was like, "Hi, how can I help you?" He was like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of your gin, and I'd love to have a chat." And we just got chatting, and we've been, friends, and working in partnership on certain places, over the last 2 to 3 years or so. So we usually tend to turn up at the same trade shows together or the award evenings, and it's always good fun working with them.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, I love that story. That's just, yeah, that's fantastic. It just kind of, you see some brands pop up and there's no sort of backstory or no real mission about it, if you know what I mean. It's just like, we're just going to produce a rum and sell it. But when you've got a brand that's actually got a story and a vision and doing something, I flipping love the idea of the different Irish whiskey cask finishes. That's just a genius idea.
Yeah, so
That's
and
brilliant.
there's also another, and again, just to kind of bring you into our thoughts for where the Two Shores brand might go to, from the shores of Panama to the shores of Ireland. While we love the liquid that you're currently trying there as well, it doesn't mean that we couldn't source rum from other places in the world and still finish it in Ireland. So we might be bringing in, it's in plan, so that there's nothing there concrete yet, but the brand allows us to bring in rum from pretty much anywhere and finish it in Ireland in our aged Irish whiskey barrels. So in
Wow.
time, this could become the Panamanian series, and then we have the Caribbean series or the Fijian series, for example. But it's still very, very early doors. We need to walk before we can run, but walk before we can run. But that hopefully just gives you an idea as to where we think the brand might be able to go to.
That's brilliant. What's your holy grail? If you could have one rum, one. I mean, obviously you stuck with. I mean, look, you're a business at the end of the day, so that Panama comes into it in a certain extent there. But what's your holy grail of a rum? If you could have like two shores, if it could come from one shore in the world, like where would you get a rum from?
I'd be really. We trialed this at the time, but it wasn't right for us then. But I think it could be right for a next iteration. Is a Kampot pepper rum from Cambodia, which could be
Wow,
quite interesting.
wow.
So
Cam
it's a very,
Cam
as opposed to a spiced rum, it's a very peppery rum. So we'd need to cask manage that correctly. But yeah, really interesting liquid that's actually it's distilled and then aged with Kampot pepper kernels in it.
How did you find that?
We did quite a lot of research online, and we literally started at Fiji and went all the way to Hawaii, and basically a bit of Google Maps, a bit of LinkedIn, a bit of calling friends that knew friends, and we ended up with a good few samples from Cambodia, from Laos, from Thailand, from Mauritius, and it just so happens that Panama was our preferred liquid at the time. But there's a whole world of rum out there, beyond what's currently being offered to people, I think. So that's possibly where we might be able to help and have some fun.
That's brilliant. Do you know what? I'm really looking forward to trying the rest of these as well. It's out there. Really looking forward because I love that whole idea of a dual finish on that. So, look, I won't take up any more of your time. It's in the evening. It's like tea time and stuff. But is there anything we've missed? Is there anything like you really need to get across to the viewers? Have we covered everything, or?
No, I think you've grilled me pretty well, Steve. So thanks for that. I hope I've given yourself and your viewers a insight into what we're trying to do.
Fantastic.
And just really look forward to hearing what people think about the liquid.
Brilliant. So just to sign off on this, look, if you want to try this, if you bought into it, then obviously this will be still available from the Craft Rum Club. I'm assuming they'll have a few extra boxes that people can purchase if need be. But you've heard that the rum will be out there very, very soon, or not this one, but potentially, but the other rums are out there. So, keep an eye out. I'd definitely recommend having a look. But Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for giving
Thank
up your
you.
time. I wish you all the best of luck in the world because it's a genius idea and a concept. I love it. So good luck for the future. Really do. I'd love to. And when you drop me a message when you come over to Rumfest, because I'll be
I
there
will do.
probably all weekend anyway. Because I think trade day will be Monday, so I'll be there Friday,
Yep.
Saturday, Sunday, or yeah, Friday
Fantastic.
through to Monday anyway. So love to meet up and have a
Good, good.
wee
Steve, it's
rum.
been a pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I wish everyone a really good evening.